everyone. I'm Greg, and welcome to The Interior Life. Today we are in the book of Matthew with the parable of the wedding feast. And I think the historians and theologians might have missed something. Stay with me to find out what. So, we are in the book of Matthew, and we are on that famous parable, the parable of the wedding feast. And I'm just going to start right at the beginning and read this, and then give you my thoughts and takes on what I think it means, and then get to that all-elusive thing that I think the historians and the theologians missed. I'm at chapter 22, verse 1. Jesus again, in reply, spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be likened to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. He dispatched his servants to summon the invited guests to the feast, but they refused to come. A second time he sent his servants, saying, 'Tell those invited, behold, I have prepared my banquet. My calves and fatted cattle are killed, and everything is ready. Come to the feast.' Some ignored the invitation and went away, one to his farm, another to his business. The rest laid hold of his servants, mistreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged and sent his troops, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, 'The feast is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy to come. Go out, therefore, into the main roads and invite to the feast whomever you find.' The servants went out into the streets and gathered all they found, the bad and good alike, and the hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to meet the guests, he saw a man there not dressed in a wedding garment. He said to him, 'My friend, how is it that you came in here without a wedding garment?' But he was reduced to silence. The king said to his attendants, 'Bind his hands and feet, and cast him into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Many are invited, but few are chosen.'" So, what does this parable tell us? Let's take a walk and find out. It says, the kingdom of heaven may be likened. So he's automatically comparing what the kingdom of heaven might be like. A king who gave a wedding feast for his son. From history, we know that the king is God, and the son is Jesus, and the wedding feast is heaven. But what about the rest? He invited guests, but they refused to come. The invited guests who refused to come is the Jewish people. And when the king was enraged, they had killed the servants that he sent there to invite them the second time. He had the city burned. That would be representative of the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD when it was destroyed. It says, the feast is ready, but those who were not invited are not worthy. Go out, therefore, to the main roads and invite whoever you find. The main roads meaning the world. The crossroads are a metaphor for the world or the Gentiles. And invite whomever you find. And it's worthy to note that God said, whoever you find. In other words, he's inviting everybody. The servants now say, it says here, narrated, the servants went out into the street and gathered all they found, bad and good alike. So here's where they're gathering everybody, good and bad alike. Now, how do we know there's good and bad? Well, there's going to be a judgment, but that's not been determined. We only know that from hindsight. And here's where we're getting to the crux of it. But when the king came into the hall, he saw a man not dressed in a wedding garment. The wedding garment meaning the righteousness of Jesus. you're clothed in Christ. So this could represent the people who were non-believers. It could also represent anybody who is claiming to be a Christian but didn't truly believe in their heart of hearts. And these are the standard interpretations. But I have a problem with it, and this is what I think the theologians and the historians missed. So what I find the most striking isn't the fact that there was a man who wasn't clothed in the wedding garment. It wasn't the fact that Jesus asked him a question, well, what are you doing in here? You don't have a wedding garment. It's not that the man answered in silence. The man answered in silence, meaning that he was guilty. And that's the standard interpretation. What I find interesting is that a question was asked, and that's what they missed. I don't see anybody talking about just the mere fact. It doesn't matter what words were spoken in that question. It doesn't matter that the man answered in silence, meaning that he was guilty. Of course he's guilty if you don't have anything to say. The fact that a question was asked in regards with the fact that he answered with a non-response is all signified that he wasn't worthy to be there. He wasn't clothed in Christ. Therefore, you can't have bad in with good. But what I find interesting is that a question was asked. Why bother asking the question? Think about it. He could just say, but when the king came in to meet the guests, he saw a man there not dressed in a wedding garment. So he said to his attendants, bind his hand and feet, cast him out into the darkness. Okay, could have just did that. Why ask a question? It doesn't matter what the question was. Why say, my friend? He's not trying to be rhetorical or cynical to the guy. What's the matter with you? What are you doing in here with it? That's not the merciful, loving God that I know. And there's something more here that we're missing. And I think that we just need to ponder that question. Why was there even a question asked? And I think I have something that might be able to be said about that. He asked him the question so that he could give us, everybody that has been living since then, a reasonable hope to believe. If we can have reasonable doubt in court and that's enough to convict someone to go to jail, then now I have a hope that whether we're Gentile or Jew or Hindu or Muslim or Buddhist or atheist, no matter what you are or who you are, when you die, you're going to go see Jesus and he's going to ask you the question, what are you doing in here? And that's our opportunity. This is the God that I know and love. And I may be wrong, but I don't believe that I am. And this is just my take. This is maybe why the theologians and historians aren't talking about this, because why was there a question asked? Why not leave it out? If it's not for some reasonable hope that we all will have that in our final judgment. I've heard a lot of talk about you make your bed while you're here on earth, and once you die, that's it. You don't get any chance. You just go to your final judgment where you're judged. But I say all of that is true, and we now have a reasonable hope to believe that we're going to be given one last opportunity to set this record straight, to put on that righteousness robe of Christ so that we are in proper wedding attire. You know, I pondered this question for a while now, and then over these past days, I've really been just struggling with all of the standard interpretations of what this means or what that means. But the one that really stuck with me the longest is this whole business of the man who wasn't without the proper wedding attire, that righteousness of Christ. And this is the best that I can come up with, is that, and I believe that there's something that could be said here, guys. I really emphatically believe that. I mean, what else would it be? The God that I know and love
wants all of us to go to heaven.
And I know he says that the gate is narrow and few will enter, and not everybody is going to get in, and some will say, I don't even know you. And all of that is true. I never knew who you were. It's all true. I'm not saying that this nullifies it. I'm just saying, for those of us who aren't pure, who know we're going to purgatory, who know that there's still some refining in the refiner's fire that's going to be needed to be done, this gives me hope. And if I represent those non-Christians, then I champion that, Lord, thank you. But this gives me a reasonable hope to believe that that's one last piece of good news that I know that I can take and live the rest of my days out with this faith, knowing that I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to pure these things away that I don't need and try to go after more of these other things that I need to be doing in my life. But it also means that I have that reasonable hope to know that at the very end, when I do go to meet my Maker, I might be asked the question. And he's going to start that question by saying, my friend. He's going to say to me, my friend, what are you doing in here? You don't have the right wedding. And then at that moment, if there's anything that's in me that's with all humility, I could then maybe answer differently. Maybe not answer in silence, but Lord, forgive me. I've wronged you. I'm so foolish. I should have done this when I was on earth. And whatever it is that you have in store for me, I deserve. And I'm not here to beg for anything. Other than to say, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. And the Lord of mercy, I believe in my heart of hearts, will know what's in my heart of hearts. I really do cherish that reasonable hope, knowing that I'm going to meet my Maker and I'm going to be given that one last opportunity. It's really good to have a reasonable hope. That's that little extra something, knowing that when I go to meet my Maker, and I'll be confident that I'll be already robed in the correct attire. But if for some reason I am asked, my friend, I know that I'm going to be addressed as my friend, what are you doing in here? You don't have the right robe on. And that's when I will just fall to my knees and just use the last opportunity that I have to answer, because at least that much I know I'll be granted, at least an answer. And I'll make everything in my heart of hearts right. Then this way, if I am thrown out into the darkness where there's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth, I'll at least know that I did everything in my power that I could possibly do to be with God. At least that's what I'm going with at this point, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll definitely see you on the next one.